come in with less disappointment and a little bit more optimism again. When you see a green arrow, you feel a little bit better on the inside. So
It's still
When
early
you're below
days.
average, you don't feel good. And when you drop to last in our league, you don't feel good at all. So yeah.
What was the average? Let's take a look.
57, I think,
69.
or
Okay,
69. Wow.
69. So reason you weren't
I think
technical. Oh, you were
a
technically.
point or two below, I think.
Yeah. Okay. We can start this week with our new segment. MOTW stands for Meme of the Week. Uh, a nice Chelsea haul, but a
Ah,
great Nkunku
wow.
one.
He's actually been such a pain to my soul. And then the price drop this week just added insult to injury. I was like, nah, man, we can't do this.
Uh,
There was so much potential, so much potential. I mean, of all the guys to start hauling, Madueke was the one, and I was like, come on.
it actually this meme is me because I worked. I had a Friday night shift and I came home Saturday morning and I slept and I woke up just after the Chelsea game. So when I woke up, I looked at my phone and I see Chelsea 6-2 and I'm like, I click on it.
You're gonna be last in the league. You thought you were gonna be last in the
Yeah,
league.
I thought I was finished, and I
I
see
was
that.
even went and everyone's talking and someone said 6-2 Chelsea and I just looked up and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, hat trick Madueke. And I'm like, okay, wow. And how much did he get? And they're like, no, nothing. And I'm like, and I was just like straight faced. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was. Did anybody watch the Chelsea game? I'm.
I watched quite a bit of it. But actually, I watched most of the first half. So when it was 2-2, I stepped out for a bit. I came back and I seen it was 6, and I was like, what in the world happened? I think it was like his hat trick was like very close together. So I think I missed all of his goals. But Palmer 3 assists in it as well, which was quite mad, to be honest. I was surprised and disappointed at the same time, hoping that some of the Oaks that went early with Palmer would feel the pain of Chelsea's disappointments. But I mean, to be honest, it also looked like they overperformed, right? I mean, if you checked some of the expected goals is not always the best bet, but I think it was like 1.67 expected goals and they scored 6. So the conversion rate there was quite mad.
It's interesting. I didn't catch the game, but I don't know what to make of it. I'm upset that they conceded because I'm looking at Chelsea defense, but I don't know how solid they'll be. They're very unsettled still, so
Yeah.
it's interesting to see who who now plays and starts. And I think there will be options there, but it's going to be risky. Any pick is going to be risky in
Yeah, I
the
think
Chelsea
I
game.
think the two that seem, or the three that seem nailed Chelsea at the moment is probably Jackson up top because he looks to have cemented that spot, especially with the goal this week.
Yeah,
And then Palmer, I mean, is undroppable right from that team at the moment. So he's the main guy there. And I think Madueke now with his hat trick probably cements himself at least for a few games. So that left wing spot's probably the one up for grabs. But I mean, there's three Oaks, or three players going for it at the moment, maybe even four at this time, right? Because there's João Felix, there's Pedro Neto, there's Mudryk who played this week, and then Kunku. So between the four of them, it looks like that one spot's going to be up for grabs. And I mean, with Europe, I think they're in the Conference League, so they've started playing already from last week. So they're going to start rotating their squad quite a bit. So Chelsea forwards, I think your safest bet if you want a Chelsea forward is probably Palmer if you're willing to spend the money. The
that's the
rest,
problem.
probably a rotation
Are
risk.
we willing to
Yeah.
spend the money? We can go on to the transition into the game week team. So this team of the week, and sorry, this is last week's team of the week. Let me just update that from my side. Um, but yeah, what did you guys think of the team of the week from game week 2?
There was more players that I guess that were expected to be there. So I mean, if you look at Diaz, De Bruyne, Palmer, Son, Haaland, Jackson was. I just don't rate Jackson personally. So maybe that's why it surprises me to be there. But I mean, more regular players. Raya's been, I guess, quite consistent for Arsenal as well. So it's been nice to at least see players that you expect to be there. I mean, like Romero scoring a goal. He was a top scoring defender last season anyway. So much more expected players compared to Game Week 1, where there were a lot of randoms that scored quite well.
That's true. And also, I feel like Raya is just making me regret my 4.5 goalkeeper situation over and over. And he really, really looked very good in that game. He saved them on quite a few occasions, and he looks like a must-have. So, yeah, I'm not feeling good about the look of that team at all when I compare it to my own team.
I think I think the Raya thing, we also touched on it last week, that the importance of actually investing in your goalkeeper. I think that's my probably biggest regret as well. Not that I had Raya, but I had Pope for a while, and they like the none of the 4.5 seem to be doing it. I think this week West Ham had the clean sheet, and also in the team of the week, Kilman is there. I think West Ham are an option, even though I think they're playing City next. Which City against West Ham, I always feel like it's a Bowen wall.
100%. Yes, you expect them to win for some strange reason, or at least like be a bogey team for City.
Yeah, I look at Bowen every time. Souček is looking amazing as well for 5. Yeah. But Kilman really impressed. He's a solid defender. He's been highly rated for a while, and the other defender in the team of the week is Momo Sims Aina.
Bench pain.
Ooh, I love your bench.
I don't regret it because there's none of the players on that I actually played in my 11 that I would have substituted for him anyway. So it was one of those where I said all 3 returned. So I mean 6-6-7 was still okay for me.
Yeah.
I mean obviously it's a 9. It's a decent swing, but I mean I have no regrets of benching him in that game, especially with the injury that he was carrying.
Yeah. Do you think he'll start now consistently?
So the problem now is because they've signed Alex Moreno, he might be so I think he's traditionally a right back. He's been playing at left back the past few weeks. So the thing is if Moreno comes into the team, we still need to see if he probably moves over to right back and replaces Nico Williams instead. So I think it's more just a waiting of a couple of games and seeing. But I think Forest do have decent fixtures coming up as well. So I think he might be one to watch. Plus, his value's also dropped to 4.4, so it makes him quite an attractive option now.
We were speaking about it earlier before you joined the call that he's actually, because of the price drop, if you still have Kwanzaa and you're stuck with a 4.4 defender,
he's a decent one, yeah.
He's probably the one to look at the most. But like there might be other options there as well.
I have a strange feeling that Alex Moreno, if he starts for this team here, Nuno being a manager that prioritizes defensive structure and keeping the clean sheets, and Moreno being that attacking force from the left back side, if he gets more games, he's also dropped to 4.4, I think, today. So he becomes another attractive option at that play. But I mean, obviously, we have to still see whether he plays or not.
Okay. I didn't know he's.
Kwanzaa might drop again to 4.3 today or tomorrow, apparently.
It's possible. It's possible. Before we get into our teams, though, we're gonna transition. I was browsing, checking out my leagues that I'm in, and I went to the Supersport Broadcaster League. And in the end, I found the person who was first, and I was like, let me click on this. How did he get there? And then noticed that he was actually ranked first in the world. He's not South African. Wow. He's from England. But these are the 2 teams I sent you. So quite a busy screen we have, but you guys have the media.
I loved the bench boost at the game week 1. It was a great bench boost.
But like just the thought process, I actually think it's a great thought process in the sense that he bench boosted game week 1. He sacrificed Haaland. We knew Haaland had a tough fixture. Potentially tough fixture, even though he scored, but he didn't give a big haul. Like I think like a 6-7 for Haaland is like disappointing for what his price point is. But he bench boosted and he went really heavy Liverpool Arsenal, who had arguably easier fixtures. He got lucky, I think, with the defense. He got unlucky on West Ham and that, but he went heavy on the keepers because he knew he was going to bench boost. But he knew he's going to wildcard in game week 2, bring in Haaland for the easier fixture, and then you have the pick of the pick of the lot because you know how teams line up, you know who's looking good. Like he avoided the whole of United because like you knew they weren't looking like they needed some time. So his second game week is a wild card, and now he's set for the rest of the time. He's gotten a great
But I was
lead.
very surprised with the Spurs investment on his what's it called, on his wild card, because Son's one fixture was probably good this week, and then his next two is Newcastle and Arsenal, which are not traditionally good games for Spurs over the past season. So
Yeah, but
that did catch me up, but it gave him a chance to pick up the cheap defenders, which was nice. 'Cause
yeah,
you see the way he set up his bench, it's players who play who are reasonably cheap.
I like it. I'm actually like a bit upset because I also wanted to go heavy on Spurs from this week. I
Yeah.
regret not because I had Van de Ven in my team instead of Robertson, but then I told you guys last week I needed to bring in Robinson because I needed someone consistent for the next few games.
Yeah.
But if I doubled up on Spurs, it's just 2 more points, but still 2 more points.
Yeah, no, but I guess defensively Spurs aren't ones that I'm going to
Yeah,
willing to invest in
that's the
their
other
players
thing.
at the moment.
It was a very
Unless you want to
much
do the premium Porro one, which is worth it because he does take certain set pieces, might be on free kicks and gets into the box, so he's still a decent bet. But I think the centre backs I still wouldn't, to be honest. So I mean, defensively we look really leaky. So, 'cause I mean, the Vicario one was surprising, right? I mean, who does that? Who goes for a Spurs
Yeah,
goalkeeper?
like looking at the
Nobody.
Spurs investment there, it made me wonder, like maybe, and the fact that he used 2 chips in the first 2 weeks, maybe he's one of those guys that have multiple teams and he's just going for Manager of the Month award this month. That's why he really went
Possible.
heavy and stuff. You never really know, and I mean, it is a short month also in terms of game week, so we'd have to see if he can sustain, and it'll be interesting to look at his team again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I was now that you bring up the manager of the month and everything, I was looking at the prizes and that I didn't even realize that you get prizes for being manager of the month. Like I thought it was a
Really?
week, like it was a game week
Yeah.
thing, each of the game week winners, but I didn't know there was a monthly thing. It's interesting. Like I think it's just a goodie bag, so it's nothing crazy, but still fun.
Something, yeah, it's
Yeah,
something.
still
Something
something to
play
talk
for.
about for sure. In the world, if you're at the top at any point, I mean, that'll be great.
Surprised I don't know anybody who's gotten that.
Me too. I've
Because
never heard of anyone that's won manager of the month. But because I think a lot of people play with the long term in mind. Nobody really plays for that short term benefits, I guess. So
yeah,
that's why.
it's a bit. But still, even if you're playing long term, eventually, from the amount of people we know who play, someone would be there
That's true.
to win it legitimately.
Mm.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to actually win
Win
that.
it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can transition into our teams of the game week 2, not 3. Apologies for my start, but I'll start with my team, and I'm really happy with what I got for what I had. I was a bit scared for this game week. Smith Rowe, I think, was the person that saved me. It was either going to be Smith Rowe or Muniz. If they both blanked, or if Fulham blanked actually, then it becomes a horrible game week. But I think you get the captain right, you close to average, and it's never a train smash. You get the captain wrong, or you don't have the captain of the week, like
Yeah.
Haaland in this case. And I benched Semenyo, which he's looking really good. And he's got Everton next. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
was
happy.
surprised you played Hall instead of Semenyo.
Yeah, I just that was the last minute thinking. I
Yeah.
expected Newcastle to do more, I guess, and I expected Hall.
But
to
Hall
start.
didn't start, right? Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't start. It was unlucky, yeah.
I'm looking at my team.
He's out of the team now for good. What do you guys think? Do you know what's the story there?
I'm not sure.
I haven't watched much Newcastle
I haven't
either,
watched
to be
much.
honest.
My
And
brother is
they
the
haven't
biggest
looked
fan.
good.
I'll have to
Yeah.
ask him. I'll text you guys. I'll text you guys.
Done.
My
Looking
brother.
forward to that news.
I should have asked him actually because he would predict. He would tell me the lineup months in advance if he had to. He knows it. But I guess I messed up on that one. But it happens like that. That's fantasy football. The other thing is just from my team is Fernandez and Isak, both disappointing.
Yeah.
Both expensive players playing in what you'd expect better teams, and both teams underperforming. Fernandez dropped today, which I was actually he's probably my next transfer out, and I'm trying to delay my wildcard usage, so I actually had a grand plan. Take out Fernandez, 3.5 in the bank for 5 million midfielder, looking at Rodgers, or I was looking at a 6.5, one of the Chelsea midfielders, Hall,
Yeah.
Henderson, and Baku. Those are so each one per week, or bank up roll a transfer and then get that ball rolling. But it seems like now with that 0.1 drop, all the dominoes are not going to fall. So I have to
Yeah.
relook.
So I almost went triple up Fulham the same that you did, needing to remove Solanke, but I, I I find it very hard in my heart to triple up on like a mid-table team. So that's why I paused on that one. I said, okay, I'll take the risk and go Mateta instead because I
Yeah,
just hoped Palace would be better. But
we
I think that
can.
Fulham triple up can come good because their fixtures are great, right? They've got really decent fixtures coming up. So I don't actually think it's a bad move.
We look at
But
your
Muniz
team.
doesn't look good. Yeah,
Yeah,
Muniz doesn't look good.
we look at your team. So you went with Mateta. It
It didn't work out at
didn't work
all.
out.
But I mean, but he played the 90 minutes, which made me feel a little bit better because game week one was a 45. He played 90. So, but my current fear is they've just signed Nketiah from
Yeah,
Arsenal.
I was
So
about to say.
I
They
was
have a
like, this,
replacement ready for you, and he plays for Palace too. And
yeah.
yeah,
No, I'm
5.9 gets you
I'm
1.6
hoping,
in the bank or
yeah,
so.
I'm hoping Glasner potentially changes, I guess, a bit of the way they play and might play Mateta and Nketiah up top because it looks like that's what he did this week. So he played that 5-3-2 type of style at the moment where Mateta and Edwards started up top. And then he changed the shape, I guess, later once Sarr came on. But I think if Mateta can hopefully get going and Palace can get going, because I think in general they haven't been as good as they finished last season. Because I mean they've lost Anderson now to Fulham, which is actually good for Robinson because hopefully their defense steadies up there. But my worry at the moment is they're also looking to leave. I think Mark Guehi is leaving to Newcastle. So in the next 48 hours, that might then be resolved. So that puts Henderson, for example, as a massive risk for us holding
Yeah,
Henderson because that Palace defense potentially drops off dramatically. But I guess and maybe as a whole as a team they probably lose a bit of stability there. But I think they're also looking at Joe Gomez from Liverpool at the moment, so as an option. So if he comes in there, it makes me a little bit less uncomfortable because he's probably good on the ball and something that Glasner might use.
just looking at your team again before we go to Razine's team, and something you'll notice between your team, you got a great bench. Me and Razine got a few players that are not even in the league anymore. Um, but like all your players on the bench play, which
Yeah,
is
so
which is
it's
must
always
be.
helpful.
So the question is now: are you planning to roll the transfer? Are you planning to?
I need
Um,
to get Nkunku out. I don't have money for it.
oof,
I think at a point in time I was considering getting Aina out as well. But my two players to probably try and get rid of at the moment is what do I want to get out from my team? I want to get out Henderson and Nkunku. Those are my next two ones that I've been looking at. I'm hoping Henderson's price stays reasonably static, and um, I've been looking at a couple of different options, but that 4.5 space for keepers might be a problem. So I might need to drop Nkunku to someone cheaper and then potentially see if I can up Henderson somehow. But I'm hoping potentially this week to roll a transfer, then save two transfers for both of those moves the week after. And I guess it's always good to have two transfers after an international break anyway. So that's back of my mind at the moment.
okay. We can. Speaking about transfers and everything, we'll transition to Razine's team because he's the only one from us to roll a transfer, and now he's got two. Or is he gonna roll again? And
No,
Just to get
I
three,
don't
just
see
know
it
what it
happening.
feels like to have three transfers.
I might make all three right now and take a -4 because that team is in a shambolic state, to be honest.
talk
I
us
don't know.
through.
I don't know
Talk us
what
through
to
your
do, man.
team.
I really, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. I need to get Kwanzaa out as soon as possible. I just want to pull up this team of mine in front of me to
The
try
the
and.
sad part is like I was watching the Arsenal game for a bit, and Odegaard had such a chance to put a ball in. Like I think there was a ball centered. I don't want to call it a tap in, but I mean if you just hit the target, it would probably score. And I was like, wow. Like if you were watching that game, you'd be fuming because of how easy that chance potentially looked.
Odegaard's price is going to drop this week, apparently.
I
So I need to decide what I'm going to do about him.
I don't think you must
Just gotta,
panic about him because he's
yeah.
he's gonna start and he's gonna continue. So I don't think I think Nkunku is more of a worrisome for you, but your defense as well.
I think your
Yes, no, I
bench
was
needs
very
some
yeah.
work.
I was considering taking Kwanzaa out yesterday already for Face from Leicester for 4 million before he went up to 4.1. I didn't do it. Now he's 4.1 and Kwanzaa's probably going to be 4.3 tomorrow. So I really need to think about this properly tonight, what I'm going to do with him. And then Kunku's price drop also hit me quite hard. But I'm currently considering taking Isaac out of my team. And I don't know how bad that might turn out to be because everybody has him. His ownership is just so high. But if I take him out, it'll really free up some funds for me to upgrade at the back, and that's something that I need to do. So I was actually looking at Visa, and yeah, I might just do it, and they give me 2.5 million in the bank, and then I can really just sort out a lot of my problems. And I would probably go with 3 transfers then, and maybe take out Nkunku and Kwanzaa, or maybe I could even take out Odegaard and upgrade him to Saka. There's a lot of different options and a lot of things going through my head, but I'd have to take out Isak to make that happen, and I'm just not sure about it yet. So I don't know if I'm going to make my moves today, but there are going to be some more price rises and drops. So I need to maybe
Yeah,
think far.
and I'm just looking at some of the potential price rises on some of these apps, and I guess players that are notable that might be going up this week is Rogers, Salah, Wissa, as you just mentioned, Saka potentially, and for drops, Solanke, Payne. So glad he's gone. But
I think
I was
Isak might
just
drop as well before the next
yeah,
game
they
week
they
starts.
say Odegaard. One notable one that I'm liking, whose price might drop, is Watkins, which is
Yeah,
quite
that's
great. So
likely
it becomes a
apparently. They're
nice
saying people on a
nice
wild
option.
card, people on a wild card should take him out today for 9 million and buy him back tomorrow for 8.9.
People do that.
Yeah,
I know some people that use their wild card purely for
for
financial
fun.
gain.
Yep. Yeah.
um, I like your thought process, Razin. I'm not liking Isak at the moment, just in the sense that I actually think for Newcastle, I think if you're gonna have, I don't think you need to go heavy Newcastle just by the way they're playing. I think if you're gonna pick one Newcastle player, then to be honest, I think Isak's not even the top three. I think Pope and Gordon are better picks,
Yeah.
bang for their buck and what they give you. And to be honest, I think going heavy in midfield and goalkeeper and defense is better than going heavy in the striking department, because João Pedro and Welbeck and Haaland are
Value for money at the moment.
yeah, and Haaland are the top goal scorers there, and Isak, Watkins, Jackson's got a goal, but he's just got one. None of the other strikers are really top-notch options. There's no Harry Kane, sadly.
Yeah.
That's very sad. He would have had the captain's armband even over Haaland, and then I would have probably been about 20, 30 points short this week. So that's the only advantage I can see. Because, but I really miss him. I do.
Yeah, since we're talking about players, let's look at some of the players that we want to discuss, and we'll start off with a player we've already talked about last week. He's come up again. It's a Brighton player, Yankubu Minte. Are you still looking at him?
He's appealing at the price. So he's appealing at the price at this point. So where my thought process is with him at the moment is, if I can take Nkunku out for him, it frees up funds for myself to potentially upgrade in the goalkeeping department. So, I mean, I think he's at 5.5, so I get about 0.9 there. So looking for a 5 million keeper, or potentially a little bit more, makes it much more attractive for me at the moment. Or my other considerations, probably saying, okay, how do I potentially use these funds to potentially upgrade my defense? So I'm with Aina dropping, or if Robinson really doesn't get going for a few games in a row, there's the potential to then, I guess, move him over into, I think I was looking at Pedro Porro at some point in time, just for his attacking returns, because he's looked good recently as well. So that's why Minte is there. And I mean, the thing is, he looks like he's playing a decent amount of minutes at the moment. He terrorized, whoever was playing left back for United, Dallo, at points in that game. So hopefully his end product gets fixed up a little bit. So that's why he's probably top of mind at the moment for a cheaper midfielder to try and get in. And their fixtures are like still decent for the next few. So
Yeah.
especially after the Arsenal game this weekend.
I actually haven't watched like a full-on Brighton game, so I'm not like I just don't know what to expect. I still feel like for me, if I'm going Brighton, I'm gonna go Matoma.
The forwards or
No,
Mitoma.
Mitoma,
I think Mitoma is the better option either way.
Yeah.
I think because he's reliable, right? Especially with his returns anyway. So
And,
I think Minte for the price is probably
yeah,
why I'm looking at him.
everybody's talking about him, but I haven't seen him. I think once I see him, then I'll maybe change my mind. The next player, like I actually didn't consider him, but now that Razine's brought him up, Johan Vissa, I'm really looking at him as well, because I really like his next fixture of Southampton at home.
Yeah.
His price point at 6, but it's just after that's a bit scary. City, Spurs, West Ham, Wolves, United. He I guess he does free up funds. You can bench him if you use those funds wisely. But yeah, like I think it's a great option, Razine.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, you see, the thing is, he's got Southampton now, and then I was thinking of Isak, and Isak has Spurs, and then Isak also has City coming up in a couple of games. Fulham's not going to be an easy game for them, so that's the main reason I was actually considering bringing him in for Isak. And every time I look at it and think about it more, I think it's a better idea. But I just that ownership that he's selected by way too many teams to just take him out. It's scaring me actually. But then I look at the Salah Haaland division in the community, and people have easily chosen one or the other, and I already have both. So maybe I can sacrifice Isak.
I think don't look at ownership. I was when I was searching through, I just go through memes. I don't know if that's if that's normal for everybody, but I just go through memes, and there was one that was. A lot of people was talking. You also spoke about Mezraoui last week, and a lot of people were speaking about Mezraoui, but all like your FPL influencing people, the community that post content, they all were like, no, don't go Mezraoui. He's got hard fixtures. United got hard fixtures. Maybe one for the future. And then obviously United fans and everybody who gets points, like the so-called casual player just jumps on him.
Yes.
So his ownership goes up. And he got points again, and there was a meme where it was Mourinho taking off his headset, and it was like the casual players have won, and I was just like, I love that. I love it when it doesn't make any sense logically for fantasy, but it makes all the sense in football terms. That's why we love football and play it according to football. Like I can see Vissa getting goals against City,
and I think he'll score against Spurs. Remember, leaky defense. As much as we kept a clean sheet this week, I personally just don't trust the defense. And Brentford do cause a little bit of trouble to Spurs whenever they play them. So my only fear is if you're taking out Isak against Spurs, the last two results at St. James's Park, I think, was 6-1 and potentially like 5-0 last season. So, so I would just keep that in mind when you make that transfer.
Thanks for the second thoughts for like the 10th time. I appreciate it.
Razine, you also noted Thomas Partey as.
I did, and I wanted to actually ask you guys, and I think Mohamed Hussein, you said you watched a bit of the Arsenal game. What's your thoughts on him? Is he playing very deep? What's the story with him? Is he worth putting in?
He plays deep. So you must remember but the thing is, he's got that habit of creeping up outside of the box and having a really good shot. I just think consistency and for long term, there's probably many better players
He's
at that
5
price.
million.
Yeah, I think like players like Rodgers, and I mean if you want to spend 5.5 on a couple of other players here and there, I think you get better value elsewhere. I think even Souček is, I think Bilal was saying was at around 5 million, which, and I mean Souček in the box all the time. And remember, Partey plays like that kind of inverted role sometimes from the right hand side to allow White to push forward and plays in midfield. So and you must remember he might be a minute's risk with I don't know if he might actually be a minute's risk now with Timber and Calafiori there. I have a sense Arteta might change back to a style that he considered playing early last season. So I think he was playing with that 3 at the back system with inverted midfielders and wingers and like very dodgy things he was doing. And with that, I don't think there's a place for Partey in the team. So he might be a risk. And I think they also signed Mikel Merino now. So
you
must just consider if if his place in the team might be at risk.
Marino would impact Odegaard a bit more. Partey, like, it's an interesting choice. The way Arsenal play, and the reason why I think he got onto the score sheet is that when Arsenal have a lot of possession, they tend to stack up in that final third.
Yeah.
And when they stack up in the final third, Saka cuts the ball back, and
Yes.
so he gets a lot of those balls coming to him. But he normally blazes it over.
But I think he scored 2 against Spurs, I think last season or the
Yeah.
season before, just from that same position.
But
So,
looking at his fixtures, like, Brighton are very much a counter-attacking team. I think he's going to be told to sit back. Spurs, he might get a bit more opportunities, and City, I think again he's going to be told to sit back. Then you got Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth, and
it's a great run after.
it's a great run after. But I still think, like, I actually think if you're going to creep into the Arsenal midfield, like, Trossard is going to come off the bench and get more points than Partey throughout.
Yeah.
I would look there. But it is something to look for. Rodri started off at this price last season, and he ended up getting a fair few goals.
I
and
actually
assists.
think Declan Rice is probably a better option.
Long term.
I don't know what his price is over Partey, but he takes corners. So in Arsenal score a lot of goals from their set pieces. So Rice is on a lot of their corners, and he's probably got a better goal threat.
He's 6.5, so he's pricey.
Okay, oh, that's pricey for his position at his
Yeah,
quite pricey.
Trossard is
I was confused.
6.9, so he's very pricey.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
There's no cheap route to that Arsenal team at the moment, unless you. I mean, I think you either go premium or you go nowhere there. In that team.
I feel like Martinelli is actually the best bang
The
for your buck,
best,
because he's
yeah.
starting at 7, but he's not performing.
Yeah,
He hasn't
and he
been
isn't
performing.
consistent.
Yeah.
When he gets on a run, he has a few good games in a row, but I guess throughout the season he isn't as consistent. That's why I always thought Arsenal would invest in a more premium left winger to just come in and affect games a little bit more.
That's supposed to be, what's it, Mudryk?
Mudryk or potential, and I think they were looking at Sancho at some point in time in this window, which I think would be a great move for them, but it doesn't look like they're going in any of those directions at the moment.
And the next player is Matt Sells from Nottingham Forest. So, Momosumo, you're looking at him.
Yeah. So I'm considering him because as a 4.5 million goalkeeper with decent fixtures and in a Nuno team, he probably gives you a decent amount of. I guess I'm hoping for a few clean sheets, because I mean they play some attacking teams, but I think Nottingham Forest is going to be one of those teams that's going to be very annoying to play against this season, especially watching them initially. But I also realized that I have Aina at the moment, so if I consider moving him on at some point in time, I'll probably consider Salts, because I think doubling up on Forest is probably a little bit too much for that than my heart can take every weekend.
I'm convinced I'm going for a premium goalkeeper, but
Yeah.
if I need to, I don't get the funds or something happens, then I was actually looking at Areola from West Ham as not this week, but one of the future. I'm liking their defense at the moment. So I probably would lean towards them. I haven't watched Forest, but I was also looking at Gibbs White for a bit.
They look stable. They look very, very stable as a team. So that's why they've caught my eye over the past week rather.
I've flagged Morgan Rogers. You guys both have him. I'm the only one without him. I was actually thinking of dropping Bruno to him. Villa got some interesting fixtures coming
Mad
up.
fixtures, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's played 90 minutes both games, right? So there's no minutes risk at the moment for him, which makes him very appealing.
What were the Villa results? They
lost to Arsenal, and then they win.
lost to West Ham.
Yeah.
So
they lost to West Ham. You're right. Yeah.
So that's my concern, in the sense that he might have played both games, but then Emery might be like, I can't keep
You the
going.
problem.
Yeah.
You the problem.
That's my only thing putting him off.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, he seems good. The next player,
I think his price is risk free, right?
That's the
At
thing.
5 million, it gives you flexibility so much in so much places in your team. Worst case
I mean,
scenario, if you ever
even Watkins hasn't played as many minutes. Watkins did come off, right?
Yeah.
both games and early, like 70 minutes or something. So I mean, his fitness is still coming back slowly, I think.
The next player is David Raya, that I flagged. I just think as a premium option, he's the one to go for, like as a goalkeeper. Sorry, Villa didn't lose to West Ham. Palace lost to West Ham.
Palace, yeah.
So I'll just get who.
Did Villa win? Because John Duran, I remember
He
scoring in
did.
game week
They
one.
did
So
win. They
yeah.
did win. They beat West Ham 2-1 first game.
Okay,
They've
yes,
lost to
yes.
Arsenal. So that's not the worst actually. Now that I'm
It
thinking about
isn't.
it,
It isn't too bad.
to lose to Arsenal is. At this
And
moment.
the thing is, they got unlucky, right? I think they hit the post. Watkins missed a sitter,
Absolute
and
sitter.
Raya made a mad save.
Yeah,
I think at some point in time.
That's why he's on the list here.
Yeah.
He's looking like the best keeper in the league right now.
Yeah.
With the best defense in the league that
Mm.
we've known. So really want to look out for. His price is definitely going to go up at some point. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
really.
think doubling Arsenal goalkeeper plus defender, I think, is almost a no-brainer for the season. You can sit and forget that, to be honest, unless you really want Havertz and Saka, to be honest. Then
Yeah. No, I don't have any of them.
Same.
I don't have a single Arsenal player. And for some
I
reason,
really want Saliba. I regret
Yeah.
going for Gabriel over Saliba. I honestly have a lot of regret.
Timber is another option at 5.5.
Yeah.
If he plays consistently, he's much more attacking and defensively sound than Zinchenko. To be honest, I don't know what Zinchenko brings to the team.
But Zinchenko is less likely to play this season, right? Especially now with Calafiori and Timber there, because both are left-sided. They can play left back and left centre back, so there's flexibility. And my worry is Gabriel's spot might come at risk there as well. I feel like Saliba plays regardless, no matter the game he will play. It just depends who he's partnered with.
Yeah.
So I think he's the safer pick from the Arsenal defense if you want consistency. And Raya obviously is the easy one.
I think they're stable with Gabriel and Saliba. I think it's still. Yeah, I don't think you should panic too quickly with that defensive partnership. For some reason, even though we keep saying every week Arsenal, and they deliver, I'm still looking at Chelsea. So I flagged Noni Madueke because I'm looking for a Bruno replacement. He got a hat-trick. He didn't start the first game, but Chelsea just got such a good fixture run-up.
So good.
Yeah, and if they're going to score 6 goals a week, I doubt it, but Palace have a leaky defense. Bournemouth, in all fairness, Bournemouth are looking good, but they're not. You expect Chelsea to score. So I'm looking at Noni Madueke. I don't know. I haven't watched the game. I just caught the highlights. It looked like all his goals were. He just blasted the ball.
Yeah, and you can see like that'll never come with consistency, right? Like a lot of anger in him because of his comments made about Wolves or the Wolverhampton being a shit place. I don't know if you've seen some of his posts that was going around after the game.
No, I didn't. But how did? What do you guys think he's a viable option or long-term option?
I think he finished the season quite well last season. He seems to have been picking up form against from then. I mean, I think he went to PSV at some point in time. I think came through the Spurs academy at some point in time as well. So I think there was always him being a good prospect. I think it was just his head that was the issue. So I think if he can keep his head in a decent place, I think he's probably got a lot of chaos to cause in the league at the moment. And I think at his price point, it's quite an attractive option. Could have been a straight swap for Nkunku if I made the move before his price went up again.
But it might be a bit too soon, no? I mean, one more haul.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
What about João Felix? So he's the other player I flagged from Chelsea. He's 6.5. He came off the bench, but he scored. He's got assist potential. He would be on some set pieces. Usually, when he first came to Chelsea, he was on free kicks. I don't think direct free kicks, but he was crossing the ball in from the long free kicks. Any thoughts on him?
I didn't rate his previous stint in the Premier League, and that's what kind of put me off him as a viable option. And I mean, maybe from an FPL perspective, his returns probably didn't look that great at the time. So I've kept him on like my watch list to say that okay, at a price that he's at, is still a decent option to look at. But I think I'm leaning towards if I don't have Palmer, I'm probably not going to look at Chelsea at all, just because the rotation risk is going to be too high there.
Is Palmer
I've
worth?
got a similar feeling there. It's very difficult to look at these players because there's just so many options for the manager to pick from, and they still want to sign more. So how do you just go with
It's like
one?
one bad game and you can feel a player can be dropped instantly because of the competition in that squad, especially in that forward line. It's
One
it's
bad training
amazing.
session, even we won't even know.
I don't know. I still in my gut is I need to bring one of these players in. Razine, now we got a list for you up on the screen. Kwanzaa and potentially Barco replacements as well.
Oof.
Well, like you mentioned a few that you were looking at, that face from Leicester.
I was looking at it, but after the price rise, I don't think I'm going to go towards him. I like that Aston Villa defender whose name I'm not going to try pronouncing.
Oh,
Nedeljkovic.
Nedeljkovic.
He's
Yeah.
the one.
I personally feel it. I personally feel like if I was in your position, Johnson from Ipswich, just because he's an attacking right back. He's got a return. Ipswich got 2 good fixtures. It buys you some time to assess, and potentially gets you, like if he goes up, potentially if he gets another return, he'll go up, and buys you another potentially rise up to try and counteract your loss. But I think if you lose 0.1, you lose 0.1 instantly. But to gain it, you got to gain 0.2 to gain 0.1.
Definitely. Yeah.
So.
And I think that left back from Ipswich as well, I can't remember who it was, the guy who gave away the penalty. So I think generally they say he's
attacking.
He's quite an attack, and I think he's in there for set pieces because apparently he's a giant. So I haven't watched it. I read about it. So I think a goal threat is really high from him. So I think he's also one to potentially keep an eye on.
And then, like you mentioned, the Villa defender Nedeljkovic. I think it's worth a punt.
I think if he starts the next one, I think he's decent because Cash looks like he had a bad injury. The only risk with this fella is that if Diego Carlos plays instead of him, then they'll push Konsa out to right back. But I think Villa seem quite comfortable with Konsa and Pau Torres at centre back, so maybe they give this young guy a bit of a run in the team.
Yeah, I think they mentioned that Mings is still out, so their centre back options are thin.
And they got Champions League as well, so they might need to then rotate there. So maybe this guy does play in the league. They rotate a little bit more in the Champions League.
So that would conclude our plays to watch. There's just one more we need to get into, and that'll be the fixtures for the next game week, and I'll get that up for you guys now. What are the fixtures that you guys are eyeing and looking at?
So I think this week's going to be some tough games, and it makes me a little bit worried for returns. I mean, there's some close ones. I think the Arsenal Brighton one's it could either be really high scoring or it could be a very tight one. The Newcastle Spurs one, it's generally a painful game to watch. So I think if you loaded up Newcastle, it's not a bad idea for 1 week. And then United Liverpool tends to either be 0-0 or Liverpool doing some damage there. So that's going to be a fun one to watch. So I'm hoping. To be honest, I watched a lot of the Liverpool game this weekend. They look so much more organized under Slot defensively compared to how they were under Klopp. I think Klopp they looked a bit open against with this guy. They seem a little bit more controlled.
Very focused on passes to death.
Yeah. My worry is Trent's minutes in general for me is making me a little bit uncomfortable because I think he got sub 60 something 70 minutes over the past 2 games. So. And then I guess, against the decent fixtures, you expect like decent attacking returns as well from him. So that's made me worried. But I think some of those fixtures might be nice. Villa, if they can get going against Leicester, will be great. I think that can be quite a decent fixture if Watkins waking up and making himself as a decent option for teams.
I think
I can't look before, or I can't look at anything other than United Liverpool. I mean, It's United Liverpool game week. This entire week is just building up to that game. I can't wait for it, man. It's just, the excitement is always there, and I'm really looking forward to Slot getting his first taste of that rivalry at Old Trafford and stuff. I hope we give them a good hiding.
Razine, just stick on that. You're a Liverpool fan. I'm a Liverpool fan. Are you nervous at all? Because like we don't know if Slot is the big game manager.
We don't know yet, but we're gonna find out. And so far, he's not done anything wrong. So I have to be excited. I've always got my glass half full. So fingers crossed. Let's just give it a go.
I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm a bit tentative. I feel that it is nervy. It is Old Trafford. And it is a game where United also rise up a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
Garnacho, Fernandez, Rashford, even Ahmad got a goal in our FA Cup game against them. They do pitch up with goals. I'm not expecting a 0-0, and I'm not expecting. I mean, I am expecting goals from both sides. So we'll see from there. I do feel like Liverpool would have the advantage. They come in as favourites, even though we have a new manager, just because we're a little bit more settled. We have a little bit more experienced team. United have a very inexperienced team still. They got a lot of young fair players. Like Meno is looking really good, and he really played well against us. But Garnacho and Ahmad, like in the big games, they can be a bit feisty. They can be a bit hot-headed, and that cannot always be that can be both good and bad. I still think, just to flag, Bournemouth Everton, just Everton. It's just like for fantasy viewing, like.
Are you captaining Semenyo this week?
He's in my team for sure. That's the thing. It can always be the week where Everton finally pick up their socks, but right now I have Everton flagged as first manager sacked.
Hundreds. Yeah.
Random big transfer, panic transfer before the window closes. Probably sign Sancho. I don't know, like some random.
They might not need to actually. So they actually signed one of the players that was at Sheffield United, that Iliman Ndiaye. So he went to Marseille, I think, last season. And like where they've actually been lacking is, I guess, creatively a little bit over the past few games. So he came on against Spurs towards the end. I mean, game was pretty much already gone by then. But I think might be someone to watch to actually spark something within that team to get them going. And I think maybe they need to probably sign a centre back just to get some stability there at the back for them, or even I think a right back or something, because they haven't looked great defensively. But I mean, a Sean Dyche team, if they can get organized, they'll always bulldoze a goal here and there just to get the team moving.
But I feel like they've lost their grit. They've sold Onana. It's Onana.
Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah,
he's a strong presence. He was really good. They have Idrissa Gueye, but I feel like for Sean Dyche's team, that was a player that was reliable.
Power in the midfield.
I still rate Pickford, but they seem to do this thing where they have dinosaur right backs. Like they had Hibbert for years, and then now they have Coleman for years. Coleman was Hibbert's understudy that's come up through the ranks. It's like, just buy a right back, please.
But they bought that Patterson, and I think he's really good. I just don't think he gets enough of a chance, unfortunately.
Yeah. But yeah, any captain picks. Like, what are you guys' thoughts about that? Because, like you mentioned, there are a lot of tough fixtures. United, Liverpool, City, West Ham, bogey team, and Arsenal, Brighton. Brighton can cause an upset. So, who's the easy captain pick this week?
I think I'm going standard. You can't not captain Haaland after a hat-trick, man.
Salah against United, surely.
I was gonna say, and he's looked really good this season, right? I mean, he's had a great start. So I hope a lot of people captain him, and he absolutely tanks, to be honest. And United win 3-0. Not that I really care of that result, to be honest, but I need some pain on the Liverpool side a little bit, just because that Salah over the past 2 weeks has hurt me.
After
or not having him.
After all, like what was said last week, we mentioned just a little bit and you mentioned it. You were, I don't know if you were joking, but it seemed to come off as a joke, so we just all ignored it. You were like triple captain.
The Haaland triple captain, yeah. I felt it. I felt it inside, but I said it doesn't make sense. You just feel like there's gonna be a game somewhere in the season on like a double game, and to be honest, like the triple captains have failed me over the past 2 seasons. So this year I'm hoping there's gonna be a Haaland double game week somewhere where he's gonna score like 5, and I'm gonna be like, ha, what a move! I didn't captain him in that in game week 2, and it paid off.
Yeah. So we all triple captaining him, City vs Everton, right?
Yes. 100%. But I feel like
sounds
Everton's
good.
one of their
Sounds
bogey
good.
teams too, right, for City. Like City
Yeah.
have this very random bogey because they'll lose against the most random teams in a season. You just won't expect it, and that's probably the game with triple captaining the guy.
Yeah. Every time you mention anything, really, I just miss Harry Kane. I
Yeah,
just miss
he
Harry
was he was a,
Kane.
he was a safe pick, right? Because he'd come with the assists, he'd come with the goals, he'd
Yeah.
always be up there in the bonus.
And he'd score against City.
Yeah,
It
no, you're right. That's
yeah.
true.
So from captain's point of view, Razine, I'll get your thoughts, but just my thoughts. I just feel West Ham's defense is pretty good, and Haaland tends to struggle against good defenders. Against the big teams, his stats are not the greatest. So I was looking at Isak against Spurs.
It's not a bad shot,
It's not
but Newcastle haven't looked good though, so
That's
that's
the
the only
thing.
thing that's putting me off.
And I feel Salah against United might be the safest pick in my opinion this
Yeah.
week.
I agree.
But Fulham playing Ipswich, if you wanna put a Muniz or Smith Rowe, I don't think Smith Rowe is a viable option.
No, I don't think so.
Um,
But I think if people have Watkins, I think he's a punty pick this week
that's the
against
thing.
Leicester.
Yeah, I think
I think
he's a
not
good
bad
option.
option. Yeah.
It's gonna be a very interesting week. I'm really looking forward to it.
I think captaincy might be split this week, but I think a lot of people will default to Haaland Salah this week because Haaland with his hat-trick, Salah looks good over the past 2 weeks, so he's in quite decent form. I think maybe an outside pick in that Liverpool United game might be Jota as an option because he tends to score goals in regardless of the occasion, whether it's a big occasion or small occasion. He pops up with goals at very crucial moments for Liverpool. So I think he might be one to potentially be punting on because he gets into great positions and that United defense still looks a little bit dodgy at the moment. And he'll probably peek behind Maguire a little bit and hide behind him, and every time the ball goes across, just tap a couple in there.
Yeah. To end our session, I'll get from both you guys. Just we'll start with you, Razine, because you mentioned it first. When would be an ideal time to wildcard?
I think next week is good if you're not doing too well. 'Cause it's always good to wildcard in the international break. I like to do it in the second one, but sometimes when things are not going well, then like this week just felt too soon. It's way too soon. There's just a lot still coming, and I think next week might if I don't go above one of you lads this week, I think I'm locking that wildcard in for that international break. I'm watching those price rises and drops like a hawk. I'm improving my team value and I'm getting back into it quickly because you can't afford to be left behind here.
Yeah, I think game week 6 has been one that's been punted by a lot of the guys that have been watching fixtures. So I think a lot of the fixtures turn for some of the teams. I haven't looked at it myself, but that's probably around when I'll probably start considering a wildcard. I think I've got probably one or two nigglies in my team at the moment, and I think I've got a very decent bench for now. So I think if I can roll and get away with it this week and have 2 transfers the week after, I might probably consider wildcarding maybe even much later in the season if things go well. But if Salah becomes a problem, I might need to pull the wildcard out a little bit earlier and then just remodel my team to get him in.
I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm trying to get my team in order without it because I feel with the start and that I don't need to rush it. So I'm waiting on that. I feel when City's fixtures turn, I'm gonna punt a wild card where I have like Saka, Palmer, Salah, Son, just heavy midfield. Right now, that's my and Semenyo, my man. So just those 5. And
like Semenyo should be there for the season. If you take him out, I'd be very disappointed.
I might just hit a train ride from where I am and catch him live.
Oh, nice.
But I'm really looking at that option, but nothing soon. Nothing that is stressing me out so much. Like I feel like I got some time to buy. I need Fernandez out. I don't know why anyone would go with a Manchester United player.
I don't think he's a bad punt. I mean, he's had some great returns over the past couple of seasons. I think last season I had a shocker with him for about 6 or 7 game weeks. I wanted to like pull my hair out. Ever since then, I've just been scarred. So I think twice before I consider Man United player. Especially, I mean, they're just inconsistent. I mean, the Brighton result was unfortunate. Xerxes not clearing one off the line. Um, well, not really off the line, just knocked it in for an offside goal. So it's a shame they've also been a bit unlucky.
Yeah, but it's still been Fernandez not like he looked him good in the first game week. This one he went off at 70 minutes.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if his fitness is maybe a concern.
I'm not too sure, but they'll get a penalty eventually. It could be this week.
Yes.
So
that's true.
It's one to watch.
You just see it happening at Old Trafford against us, don't you?
Let's hope he
Kwanzaa coming on, clipping him, getting sent off, and what's it called him? Fernandez belting it back into the back of the net. I'm here for it. After Trent's gone off for 60 minutes with his clean sheet.
Trent's gonna get his first.
Kwanzaa back to 4.2. And then by that time, Aina will be at 4.6.
4.6, and then we would have bought Kwanzaa. Bilal and I bring in Kwanzaa. He goes on a run of 6 clean sheets in a row and 2 goals.
And I only get him out once he hits 4.1 before the run. Oh dear me.
Razine, we feel for you.
But I'm really thinking getting Trent in this week for Kwanzaa and then just downgrading Isak to Vissa. That might just be the best way to stabilize my defense and just get moving again. I don't know.
I'm just waiting for Trent to look a little bit more attractive in the final third. Because, I mean, he's been okay.
He's been okay.
I mean, I've expected a couple of decent returns already, but nothing too
He's a beautiful player to watch. Like,
yeah.
It's so fun. So nice. It's relaxing, actually.
Yeah, it is. I've never, he's one of the best ball strikers in the league. Comfortably one of the best ball strikers.
Okay, that's our show. Game Week 3 is on the horizon. Wish you guys all the best, and we'll catch up 2 weeks' time.
Wait, United Liverpool predictions before we go.
1-1.
I think 2-1 Liverpool.
I was gonna say the same thing, but I'll just say like 5-0 or something to make it exciting. But I was thinking 2-1 Liverpool also, but I'll never forget that 7-0 win, and it'll always just keep my confidence high, that result.
Yeah, I hope so, but I still...
The next season after the 7-0 was the 0-0 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
A board draw afterwards, yeah, I remember. Because I feel like I captained Salah in that game. It was quite painful to watch.
The games have been painful to watch recently.
Yeah.
But okay, guys, we're gonna stop it there, and good luck for Game Week 3.
Cool.
All the best, guys. Take it easy.